I wonder how easy or difficult you expect this meeting to be for Mark Rutte specifically, who has in the past had a very warm relationship with President Trump. I would remind our audience that he once referred to him as daddy. And I just wonder how warm you expect this to be today.
You know, I think on a personal level, the president and the secretary general get on very well. And as President Trump said, people who like me, I like people who like me. Mr. Rutte has done whatever he can to demonstrate that he likes President Trump. He's gone bent over backwards. He has, for many European leaders, gone too far in doing so. But he doesn't have a political constituency other than those leaders who are also interested in keeping the United States on board. But it's not just about this meeting. It really is about the nature and the way in this that this alliance is going to move forward. In less than 2 weeks, all 32 leaders are going to be in Ankara for a NATO summit. And what President Trump will do at that summit is the big question that Mr. Rutte is going to ask him. He wants to make sure that the summit doesn't blow up, that there aren't real fundamental big differences. We saw in the G7 that it worked pretty well, and hopefully it will work well in Ankara as well. But there's some really serious issues that the president will want to raise, and frankly, that the Europeans are raising.
How do we define the summit blowing up, Ambassador? I know that Pete Hegseth has announced this extended review of U.S. forces across Europe. President's taken 5,000 troops out of Germany. Are these the kind of ideas that could blow up a NATO summit?
Well, that could be. The president could walk out. Whether he can legally withdraw from NATO is, in fact, a constitutional question that hasn't been answered. But he can certainly tell the NATO leaders that, as president, he's not particularly prepared to defend them, which is pretty much the same thing. So that's what blowing up means. But even if that doesn't happen, and I don't think that's going to happen, there are some serious issues that are on the table. Not only the 5,000 troops out of Germany that you mentioned, I think much more worrisome was the announcement a few weeks ago that the United States will not contribute to what is called the NATO force model. Those are the forces that are going to be available in 10, 30, and 300 days in case of a major conflict. And the U.S. is significantly reducing its commitment, particularly of air power, a number of air wings, a number of airplanes that are dedicated to that mission are going to be cut by a third. The number of refuelers, those are the aircraft that refuel in the air, bombers and fighters and the like, are going to be cut by half. The intelligence and surveillance systems that the United States almost uniquely possesses are going to be cut as well. And so rather, instead of doing this in a slow and methodical way as Europe builds up, the U.S. can reduce its capability, which is something that everyone in Europe wants to do. The U.S. has now announced they're going to do it immediately. If tomorrow there's a war, those forces that were available 4 weeks ago would not be available today. That is a major, major decision, which suggests that the United States is disengaging from Europe, or at least less engaged in Europe than it has been any time in the last 76 years.
Well, and of course, that's an important consideration for wars of the future, potentially. But what about the war of the present on the European continent, Ambassador, as we consider the current state of play between Russia and Ukraine, where we actually have seen Ukrainian advances, seen successful Ukrainian attacks on Moscow, for example. Do you sense that there is a tide shifting there and that the president may actually want to ride a winning Ukrainian tide, a Ukrainian wave, more so than he previously seemed that he had a desire to do?
Well, wouldn't that be nice? That would be certainly a shift. But the president, consistency is not necessarily high on the agenda. So I think the idea of him supporting a winning ticket is perhaps attractive. And you're right. The military balance inside Ukraine and in this war is slowly but surely shifting because of two fundamental changes. Number one is that the Russians are running out of manpower. Believe it or not, they're 4 times bigger in terms of personnel than the Ukrainians, but they haven't mobilized the country because Vladimir Putin is not at war with Ukraine. He is engaged in a, quote, special military operation. He doesn't want to mobilize because that would undermine his domestic support for this war. And as a result, he's been paying a lot of people to go to the front, and the number of casualties that are now suffering on the front line by the Russians are higher than the number of troops that are being replaced each month. So the situation is getting worse. So is the economic situation for Russia, and that is a one part of it. The second part of it is the Ukrainians, through drones and other strikes, are becoming increasingly able to hit the Russians both deep inside Russia, beyond the battlefield, and now to cut off Crimea from Russian support, particularly oil and other logistical support. So the war is churning, and if the president wants to jump on a winning bandwagon, he's a way to do that. He could call Vladimir Putin and say, you know what, you're losing this war. You're not getting the right kind of information from your generals. Here's the information that we have about what the state of the war is, and share some of the intelligence information that we have about it in order to convince Vladimir Putin that his choice is to stop now and keep, at least for now, what he has, or suffer a worse defeat.
Well, you wonder if he might be motivated to take that posture after spending some time with allies at the NATO summit, Ambassador. When Bloomberg News wrote up a story about today's meeting with the Secretary General, we spoke to a number of lawmakers, Democrats and Republicans, including Democratic Senator Brian Schatz. And his comment jumps off the page. This president, he said, is uniquely misaligned with the Western world, and I'm not sure that's fixable with a White House visit. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think there's a major breach in the relationship between Europe and the United States. I think this is the worst crisis among many crises that have been there for the last 80 years. This is by far the worst. Europeans are distrustful of the United States. Only 11% of European publics now think that the United States is an ally. That is astonishing when you think about it. More see the United States as a rival than as a friend or a partner. Those are very worrisome signs. And the same is true for Washington, which is now basically decided that because the Europeans weren't willing to support the United States in a war on which they were neither consulted nor thought was necessary, for conclusions that, by the way, they were right on, that therefore there is no value to NATO. That's what the Secretary of State is saying. That's what the Secretary of Defense is saying. It's what the President is saying. So under those circumstances, yes, we are in a misalignment. That's a nice way of putting it. We are in a deep crisis in this alliance, and it's not going to be fixed by one visit. It's frankly not going to be fixed by one summit, and it may not even be fixed by a change in administration.
Wow. In our final moment, Ambassador, do you think it could have been fixed by European allies being more willing to intervene in the Strait of Hormuz?
No, I don't really think so. I think if the Europeans had supported the United States, we would have still been where we are, which is that the United States way overestimated its own military power and way underestimated the capacity of the Iranians to resist in this situation. So I think we would have been in the same place, except that the U.S. would continue to blame the Europeans for a mistake that the United States made, which was to start this war from the beginning.